If you own XRP, you need to know all of this now. Please read the disclaimer. XRP holders, we're going to get straight into it. These are the key events that we have this week, and you got to know what's going on here. We'll get to all the rest in just a sec. U.S. markets react to the cancellation of U.S.-Iran talks, 6 p.m. today Eastern time. We're going to find out. We're going to see potentially futures coming down. We've seen this happen already a few times over the past few weeks where there has been something that goes on over the weekend. Everybody freaks out. And then Sunday night, Monday morning, President Trump says something and then everything is honky-dory and everything's okay. We'll see. Maybe this time we do have a sell-off on Monday morning. Maybe we don't. Time will tell. We'll know tomorrow, right? April consumer confidence data is coming out on Tuesday, and then April Fed interest rate decision and statement that's happening on Wednesday. So that's going to be the big crescendo of the week. But not only because on that day also we have Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and Google reporting earnings. And on Thursday, we have Apple reporting earnings, and we have the first quarter GDP data that will be very interesting, and the March PC inflation data on Thursday as well. Plus 20% of the S&P 500 companies are reporting this week. Buckle up for a highly eventful week ahead. This is going to be a potential very, very volatile week, maybe for the crypto market, maybe for XRP, but in general, the stock market is probably going to be very volatile according to what earnings are for specific stocks. And then that could affect what happens with the crypto market. Of course, any update that comes regarding the ceasefire could swing the market this way or that way. And of course, any substantial update on the Clarity Act could swing the markets this way or the other way. So make sure to have the notification bell rung so you don't miss out on any new update that comes out. And you, of course, need to be subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now's the time to do so. Also remember that this video is for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Fun fact, less than 10% of the global population is invested in crypto. So if you turn that on its head and do the inverse, 90% of people in the world are not invested in the crypto market. And so when you think about that and you think how much of the world is invested in the stock market, even if you're not in the US, many pension funds around the world and things like that are invested in the S&P 500 through S&P 500 index funds. Most people on the planet Earth, for the most part, not everybody, of course, maybe a lot of people in China and a lot of people in India, which is about almost 3 billion together, right, are probably not invested in the US stock market, but there's still, let's say, another 3 billion around the world, let's say 2 billion. So let's say 2 billion, which is about 20 or 30% is invested in crypto, is invested in the stock market. Less than 10% is invested in crypto. So there's still at least 20 to 30% potential here for the rest of the world to catch up. And on the flip side, crypto would also be easier to purchase than stock market. Why? For a stock market, you'd need a brokerage account. Crypto, you just need a wallet. That's it, right? You go in, sign up, wallet, that's it. You can buy crypto. And so it's a lot easier for someone, let's say in a third world country, to accumulate crypto, whereas the stock market, they need a brokerage and they need to give information and do a KOL and all that. Now, KOL? No, KOL is influencer, right? KYC. So it will be very interesting to see what happens here over the next coming weeks. RLUSD, Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin has reached a new all-time high supply of nearly $1.6 billion. This continues to grow, and Ripple stablecoin continues to, it's not dominating yet, but in the future, potentially we could see a little bit more domination from RLUSD. By the way, talking about this week, I messed up. I was supposed to talk about this before. The Trump insider, or someone that keeps getting this right, opened up a 45 million oil short, right? This is, we don't know if it's actually someone from close to the president, but that's the theory because they have very good win rates. You can see here, and that 45 million oil short. He are something massive coming tomorrow. Big sell off. I don't know. It could be a sell off in the morning and then a recovery later. So just watch out for that, because many times people will look at these kinds of headlines. They'll go heavily short, but then the market flips on them. They don't have a stop loss. And then they get caught on the upside, right? So just know that the market could be very volatile tomorrow. We've seen before the president come out and give statements when everybody thought we would go one way and we went the other way. Okay. Interesting. Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz said the US Clarity Act could be finalized in May and potentially signed into law by June. So this is what people are speculating right now, that we'll get a finalized in May and then potentially in June. And it's funny because that could kind of coincide to the same type of time frame where the crypto market ran up last year. So will we see another kind of run up here, or is this just another one of these bull runs in the midterm election year and then, bull trap and then sell off after that? Again, everything is on the table, but I still think the Clarity Act will be, if it passes, will be a black cloud that is lifted from the crypto market and potentially allow it to soar. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I don't know exactly how things are going to play out. But Michael Saylor continues to do his plan, and he says the beat goes on with another orange dot potentially being added here tomorrow. Whenever he tweets this out on Sunday, Monday morning, he comes with another buy of Bitcoin. They don't care. They continue to buy Bitcoin, whatever the price is, and they continue with their plan. So, that's the question to you. Do you have a plan? Are you dollar cost averaging? Are you buying the dip? Are you selling the dip? What is your plan? You have to be ready for that. And this is another interesting thing. We've talked about the potential new Fed chairman, how this could be the last the last Fed meeting that current chair Powell will be a part of. And then we get potentially new chairman coming in soon, Kevin Warsh. But that might not be a good thing, because if we look back in the history of the crypto market, in 2014, Janet Yellen became Fed chairman. So she was back in 2014, and Bitcoin dumped 84%. February 28, Powell became Fed chair. Bitcoin dumped 73%. May 2022, Powell got second term. Bitcoin dumped 61%. Now Kevin Warsh is expected to become Fed chair next month. Will history repeat again, or this time different? What we have to take into consideration is those years were also post having sell-off years where the market had run up significantly and then sold off into that time frame. And this was always the midterm election year, remember? And then it started selling off. Same thing is happening right now. We were supposed to have the big crescendo in the odd year, right, in 2025. Same as 2017, 2021. And then the even year, the 2022, the 2018 is the years it's supposed to sell off. But we never had the crescendo. We never had the banana zone. So the question now is, will we have the same sell-off? If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that my theory behind this is that because we didn't have the crescendo, we won't have the 50, 60, 70% sell-off. But again, that's just my speculation on what could potentially happen, because one didn't happen. Same way the crypto market really didn't sell off during the beginning of the war, the same way that the stock market sold off aggressively, because it already had pulled back so much. And so, there was seller fatigue, and we didn't see that happening. Whereas the stock market was pulled up very, very high. People were highly leveraged. And so that's when we saw the sell-off coming there. But then when the fear subsided and everybody understood that WW3 was not coming, oil to 200 was not coming, which was the main fears that we had at the beginning of or other people had. I didn't have that fear, but other people had that concern. Then the stock market bounced back really, really fast. Although about 60% of the assets are still in the red. It's just the big ones, the behemoths, have recovered very, very strongly. And that's why we're seeing such a great recovery on the indexes. So a lot of stocks haven't actually recovered, but the big ones and a lot of the um, chip stocks have gone up significantly, and that's helping Apple, Nvidia, Amazon has recovered significantly. So that's why we're seeing the indexes rally back. But a lot of the companies, especially software companies, are still down significantly. So it will be very interesting to see what happens here over the next coming weeks, and especially with this week ahead of us, and all these things that are coming for us in the next coming days. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now's the time to do so. Check out the links in the description down below. Some of those are affiliate links, and so I will get a commission if you do use my link. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.